Just first of all, I want to applaud you guys for this week. How that those of you that, oh baby, that those of you that were here that stepped up with all the absences, and some of you was doing double runs and running an hour behind, but you did it. And we appreciate you. We thank you so much. You were awesome. So we're going to get started. The majority of the people are here. I know it's a few minutes early, but we're going to go and get started. So back to our future. What is our plans? What is our goals? Why are we here and what are we doing? The thing about it is that every strong tower starts with a solid foundation. And you, the drivers and the attendants, regardless of whatever other organization or auxiliary Mansfield has, bus transportation is the foundation, because if we're not pushing kids into the school, they're not getting paid. So you are the solid rock, and we appreciate you. I appreciate that. I can't talk for everybody, but I appreciate you and I thank you guys for being here. Every successful day starts with a positive attitude, and for some reason this is not giving me a preview of what on my slide is next, so I'm out to bring it. But every successful day starts with a positive attitude, and I understand that sometimes getting up to come here is not so positive. But I thank you those of you that are pushing through and making it through and making it what it is today. First things first. Morning pre-trip starts with you. You got to get yourself ready to be ready to come in. As I do CAP training and when I talk about accidents, one portion of that is talking about our mental state of mind when we get here. And because a lot of times when your mind is somewhere else, or you're thinking about somewhere else, or you're dealing with other things, all it takes is a split second for you to have a poor lapse in judgment or a mental lapse in judgment, and it causes us to have accidents. So just start ready. When you get up in the morning, you already know you're coming in, you already know you got to be here. So when you wake up in the morning, it's time to kick the tires like the Five Big Daddy. It's time to y'all seen that movie? It's time to get it going. It's time to fire it up. It's time to get fired up with where we're going and what you're going to do. Again, you are an awesome group of people. Give yourself a hand clap. Now see, there's a couple of you that should have actually stood up and gave you a standing ovation, because you have done great. Who believes you need a standing ovation? All right. If nobody else clap for yourself. Y'all have been doing good. Great, and we appreciate it.
That's example. That's example.
See, that's when we get started. Remember, guys, make sure you're on the clock. Remember, before you leave, sign in the back. Before you leave, make sure you sign in the back. Okay, I was just telling everybody how I appreciate, we appreciate the hard work you guys are doing and what we're doing. So, where am I next? Remember that the real, Candace, set you free. See, we just talked about this before I got started. I said touch your friend, not you. I told you touch your friend. Okay. See, that's just how sometimes when you have a church or some people in the back here still talking. You, remember, you are the real you. The real you is a hero to somebody. And the hero in you will always make a child's day better and more complete. You may not ever know sometimes how much you help a kid. There are some children that get on your bus that's had a rough life. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're dealing with at home. Your bus ride for them to school may be the only good meal that they get that day. Because remember when we had the pandemic and we was off and they were doing virtual, we were still delivering food to students. Why? Because the district understands that there are some kids that still don't get a good meal. So by you showing up and by you being there, you're making some kids' day better. Some kids come to school tattered, dirty, unkept. And sometimes it's not because of the kids, not because of laziness. Sometimes their home life is such in a bad disarray that that's the best that they can do. You remember, those of you here, about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a gentleman that did our convocation, and he talked about his bus driver, how that the teacher would get on him because his homework was always jumbled up and looked like he wrote it while he was running, and she would get on him about doing better and being more responsible. Come to find out that the lights was off at home. Sometimes his bus driver would drive around after the run was over to give him an opportunity to do his homework on the bus. And that changed his life. And he was able to get better, and he has hope because somebody, the bus driver, thought enough of him to give him an opportunity to do better. So you are some child's hero. You do know that there are special needs students on regular ed buses that you may not never know about because the parents want their child to be acclimated to regular ed, to regular life or living. And you may wonder why this particular kid is acting out, why this particular kid is strange, and all you want to do is write them up and move them and do what you got to do because you don't understand what's going on with the child. Sometimes take a minute to think what could be going wrong in this child's life. Take just a little minute to be able to reach out with your heart to see what's going on because every kid, sometimes when a kid is acting up, they're actually reaching out for somebody to care. I got a friend that does off the wall thing and they don't care that they get in trouble about it. They just wanted the attention. So any kind of attention from them was something that somebody is thinking about me, somebody is caring about me, somebody is correcting me because of the wrong I'm doing. So guys, you are some kid's hero. So to get there, to be that hero, you need to first do a proper pre-trip and not a generic pass by. And the reason why this is in here because it's been very noticeable that some of the drivers and attendants that are helping out, assisting or whatever, are not doing pre-trips properly because you got a good bus or you know your bus or you drive your bus every day, so you figure that, okay, it's all right, I'm just going to get in and go. I'm running a little late, I'm going to get in and go. It'll be all right. But because every hero shows up when needed and you are needed, then we got to do this pre-trip. Proper pre-trips are essential for safety for everyone, including the following. Fluid leaks. If your bus is losing any fluids, shop needs to know immediately. Low oil or coolant can cause an engine to lock up. I was talking to a special needs driver last week, and they were saying that they were on their bus, finna back out, and just so happened that shop was going by. So shop blew at them, stopped, yelled at them, told them to stop, and they was wondering why was shop stopping them. And shop, the guy told them to get out the bus, and he told them to look up on the bus. There was a large there was a large pool of oil up on the bus, and the bus hadn't been down. Why? Because sometimes you don't even think, I check my tires, I check this, but do you look up under the bus? And if any of you know our buses, any of them is something to leak at any time or something to go wrong. When you have brand new 2023 vehicles that don't have 500 miles and they still breaking down, something is wrong. Make sure that we're checking that. Make sure that you're checking your air pressure because if the pressure is not working properly on your bus, the bus will stop while you're driving. And then also your entry-exit door will malfunction. Have you ever been trying to close your door and it's like, well, I will in a minute. That's just because the air pressure on most buses has not built up. So make sure that the air pressure in your buses are working properly. You do want to make sure that you're doing a proper brake trip. You should know how to do a brake trip by now. I'm not going through all the situation of how to do things. I'm just telling you what we look for and what could cause it. Lights, headlights, brake lights, signal light, tail light are not only required, but they are your of the most vital safety components on any vehicle because they are your external communication to other drivers and pedestrians. Since you can't holler out the window at everybody, your signal lights are telling you, hey dude, I'm finna go this way. You need to hold up, I'm finna turn. Your signal lights are telling them what you're finna do. Your brake lights are telling them, hey look, hold up dog, I'm about to back up. Your lights is your external communication to tell other people what you're doing. So just don't blow it off that, oh, I got a light out, I got this out. And your clip lights are mandatory by federal law on large vehicles. Those are your lights around the top. So make sure that your lights are working. And that's not going to necessarily down a bus, but let shop know what's not working so y'all can get that fixed. Tires. Improper inflation on the front tire will cause a vehicle or bus to pull to the left or to the right. Sometimes you think, oh, my car, even in your personal car, you may think, oh, my car may be out of alignment. But a low tire will cause your car to pull to the left or pull to the right. This will cause improper wear, which causes front end alignment issues. Improper inflation of a rear tire, especially in a dual, that's why we check them, will put more pressure on one inflated tire, which can eventually cause a blowout, which can what? Cause an accident. Make sure that you're checking your tires. Improper tread wear can indicate that steering system is out of alignment. Low tread can eventually cause the tire to blow out, which can cause an accident. Low tread today can cause hydroplaning. And if you ever been in a vehicle that hydroplane, that's scary because you don't have control of the vehicle. For those that don't know what hydroplaning is, and it seems like how can this happen in a bus that weighs 39,000 pounds? 3,100, 3,100. You know what I'm talking about. I hope your bus don't weigh that much. How can this happen? Hydroplaning means that there's so much water on the roadway that your tire is really not riding on the ground or the pavement. It's actually riding on a sheet of water. And you would think, well, how in the world can a big, heavy vehicle like this, how can that little bit of water separate, but it does happen. And it will cause you to slide. It will cause you to lose control. So the reason why all the little ridges is in the tires is so that it can divert water out from the solid plane of the parts of the tire and push the water to the side so that your vehicle will grip the road. So make sure that you're watching your tire. Mirrors, broken mirrors, missing mirrors, improperly adjusted mirrors will definitely cause a reduction in visibility, which will increase blind spots, which of course adds to the possibility of being involved in an accident. Everything I'm telling you is so that you will drive or have a safe day. And your tires, when you're checking your tires, you can't just run over the tires. What I was saying about the rear tire, I know a lot of people hit their front tires. I don't know why. Because you can see if that tire is. The whole purpose of you using a knocker is because the rear tire is two. And if one of them is flat, you will not be able to tell just by looking at them. One could be flat and it looks like it's not because the other tire is holding it up. So you hit the tire sharply enough to make sure that the tire knocker bounces off the tire, gives a little thud, bounce off the tire so you know that it is fully inflated. Me, myself, not only do I hit them, but I take mine and poke it. I'm trying to make sure that it does not push in. And if you don't know how to properly do a tire check, Miss Brown will show you. Just reach back like you're in a 2-3 point stand and slam it. No, you don't have to hit it that hard. But make sure that you're checking your tires, especially the rear tires, to make sure that you don't lose traction. I'm not shooting for my next one. It's not shooting for my next one. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Guys, I told y'all last second meeting that the police will write bus drivers. And so, yes, and please be careful. Watch your speed, watch your red lights. I've had, now, I think the last time we discussed it, I had 32. Now I have 50-something complaints. And some of those complaints are a reference to speeding, which is easily debunked with Sam Sarah or through the video, and I know they were not speeding, or running red lights. Now I know sometimes you are in the what they call a stale green light. I mean, the light been green a long time, just be prepared for it to change yellow. Because sometimes if you're going too fast and it changes yellow, you don't have time to stop if it turns red before you get into the intersection. But please, guys, be very, very careful. And the reason why I brought this up is that I thought, because state law says, or federal law says that if you receive a citation, you are required to contact your employer within 7 days of a conviction of a citation. I did not know this was in our handbook, but this section right here is in part of the acknowledgement that you receive you receive the fact that you know that there is an electronic handbook online in MISD website that you can go to and read about all of the things about being a bus driver. In that particular portion, there is this that says that I am also aware that I must report driver's license suspension, revoked license, reclassifications, arrest, or any kind of traffic citation, whether your private vehicle or a district vehicle, to the Management or Transportation Department within 3 days. Failure to comply with this directive may result with termination as an employee of Mansfield Independent School District, DBA legal. That's from the legal department of Mansfield. That's not from us. That's from the legal department of Mansfield. They require you, if you receive a citation or anything else, to notify within 3 days. That's not saying that you're going to be terminated or anything, because you can get a citation and somehow get it dismissed and you're good. No points, no work. But that's I just brought that up so that you will understand that if you do get a citation, please report it timely. Okay. We all know, or most of us heard about the accident that occurred last week. Just guys, when you're driving, it is very important to get the big picture. I'm showing this because I'm not trying to embarrass anybody. I'm not trying to put the driver on Front Street, but I'm trying to get you guys to really understand and take it to heart that the buses, that the large vehicles that we drive is a deadly weapon, and so to speak. So I'm asking you that please to be very cautious, be very careful. Last safety meeting we talked about why we're allowing time to be a bully. Why are we allowing time to force us to try to speed up and get somewhere that most of the time we can't get there at that time anyway? Just slow down and make sure that we are being very cautious. Now, this driver was making a left turn, and this car was coming down the roadway. This driver said that they saw the vehicle and figured out that, okay, look, to where that vehicle is, where I am, I've got enough time to make the turn. Well, of course, they didn't, and they basically almost hit head on. 3 people went to the hospital. And I asked him, I said, how much time would you have lost? How much time would you been delayed if you had just waited for the car to pass? And he said 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds. 3 seconds. If you had waited 3 seconds, this accident wouldn't have happened. So I have to ask you, is 3 seconds worth somebody's life? If you're getting somewhere so quickly, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because thank God that no one was seriously injured. The young lady that was driving the car actually got out the car and was walking around. So we understand that no one was seriously injured. And of course, anytime there's an accident of this magnitude, there's going to be kids on the bus that's going to claim injury. So now we know that this accident is going to cost us in the hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million, because of that. It'd be 3 seconds. I could have waited just 3 more seconds. Guys, and I'm saying this to you because last week I was done. Last week I was done. I was ready to give this up. 26 days we went without an at-fault accident. I was so happy. I was ready to come here and put on some rockin' music and run around this room and high-five everybody. We had 8 bus incidents last week. 8. Now, we categorized some of them as incidents, but it doesn't matter if it was an incident or not, you still hit something. And we've got to understand that what we're not doing, we're not paying attention, and or we're not taking it seriously. And I was saying to myself, I'm not effective. If this is happening after me giving the safety meetings, after me talking, after me trying to give you some type of visuals to get your attention, to ask you to be more careful, to be more guarded, and this is still happening, I said, I'm not the one. I'm not the one to be able to reach you guys so that you maybe will think about what you're doing more. So last week I was saying, I'm done, son. That's it. I was really hurt. I was hurt. My feelings was hurt. And I was like saying, you know, I can't do this because I'm not helping you. It's just not about having accidents and nothing and statistics and nothing else. But evidently I'm not reaching you guys. So, but this week, y'all showed out. With everybody, with people being out, with people being behind, people I'm not rushing, but people are picking up double runs and all of this, and no accidents so far this week. So that gave me a little ray of hope that I may stick around a little bit longer. But please, guys, be very, very careful. It's serious. I'm gonna ask you this because I got to get something else. I'm done. For those that drive Turner 1L at York, Turner 1L, you might not go into York, but that you drive down Turner 1L, York on the south side. That corner right there, there's a blue car right there on the corner. There's a white car, if you can see it, up in the driveway. That white car was actually where the blue car is now. Got a call last week that a possible bus hit the car. Now, you can't see it, but over the fender wheel, over the tire, there's yellow paint. On the mirror, there's yellow paint. So it's high probability that a bus may have hit the car. If you are that driver, I need you to come see me. Because right now I'm talking to the owner and they're not filing a police report yet, so it's not a hit and run. And I'm trying to keep it from being a hit and run. Because if it goes to the PD and it becomes a hit and run, I can't save your job. A few weeks ago we had a driver that just clipped the trailer, but he didn't call it in. And when asked about it, he denied it. And now he's no longer working with us. Just a small clip on the trailer. The picture that I showed you, the picture that I just showed you with the damaged vehicle, it was an accident. The driver's gone through cab training, the driver has been released, and the driver is still here. Because it's a reported accident, he didn't have but reported, but it's a reported accident, and he went through the procedures of what he had to go through. Do not ever, and if I've signed your blue paper before you start working, some of you have been here long now, so I haven't, but if I sign your blue paper before you start working, that's the conversation we have. If you touch anything, report it, because a hit and run will cost you your job. Now, for those that I was talking about going down Turner 1L, I'm not saying that you did it or anything. What I'm trying to do now, because it's hard for me to go through every bus and find out. If you go in that area, I'd like to know who you are later, because I want to use your video to see maybe what time did it occur. The lady said that her child came home from school, Legacy High School, and later on that evening, that's how it was. So I'm trying to get somebody the picture. I'm talking video off the bus that will either show me when it was cleared and when the damage was. So thank you. Yes, sir.
I was going to say it's better to lose your job than having reported to be a felony.
Yes, yes, and that's the reason why your job would be in jeopardy. So if you did it, just come see me and we'll work through this. All right? I know y'all say that. The threat of a weapon on the bus. Code phrase, my DEF or my DEF is hot. If some kid, you heard kids say, hey, so-and-so Johnny got a gun on the bus, Johnny got a knife on the bus, then we don't want to ignore it. Earlier this year, last year, whatever it was, there was an incident where there was it was an air gun or something, but anyway, it was a gun on the bus, and the driver did not report it. They just took it as, okay, kids just being kids. But with the climate of everything going on and school shootings the way it is, they wanted to come up with something that will not notify the kids that you're hollering on the radio. I got a kid with a gun on the bus. So the code is my DEF or my DEF is hot. Example is the driver say, this is bus 600 to base. This is base, go ahead. Base, my DEF is running hot. Base will confirm that by something like, I understand your DEF is running hot, 10-4. Then base, please proceed to whatever campus I would have shot on the way. So what they're trying to come up with is a formula because PD is going to swarm in. PD is going to come in, and the thought about it is, and I know this may not happen in lower grades or whatever, but the thought is that if a kid intends to do something, and no matter what comes or may, then if they think that they're being threatened about what they're going to do, then they may do it anyway. They may start shooting on the bus. If you go to a campus where there's always a police officer at the campus, the thought of there's always a police officer at the campus anyway. No, nothing strange about that. Nothing strange about a vehicle breaking down, a bus breaking down. There's nothing strange about that. So they say, hey, look, I'm about to go over here because I'm meeting shop because the bus is acting up or the bus is about to stop. So, okay, there's no alarm. There's no alarm in the situation when you're saying that. So the kids is not thinking that, oh, they own to me. They know I got a gun on the bus. And so when you get there, dispatch, you call dispatch. Dispatch will tell you what to do. By the time you get there, police will already be there. We had an incident not too long ago when the driver called in on Leadbetter about a child, report that a kid had a gun. And I was in the office and they said, PC, get there. I'm like, what am I doing? I ain't got no gun. I'm trying to take all the way there. I'm trying to figure out, okay, look, when I get there, what? Hey, y'all get out the bus. But by the time I got there were 3 police officers already there that already stopped us surrounding the bus. So understand it's very serious. They want to make sure that we're all safe and that everybody on the bus is safe. And so you might not like the phrase, you might think the phrase is corny, but that's what it is for right now. That's what the dispatch has been trained on. So that's what we're going to use for now. Yes, ma'am?
Not to say it's a dumb question, but what if a kid is on a bus with the gun and it's advertised or pointed at another student, you still say my DEF is hot?
Yes.
Yes.
Really? Man, my DEF is boiling. My DEF is very, 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 very hot. My bus is about to stop. My DEF is so hot. You know what?
Can you ask? That's fine.
That is a hopefully a never occurrence, but there's always a possibility. And the thing about it is we could actually discuss it. We could actually have a lot of scenarios and what else, and we pray to God that never happens on the bus. If it does, that's going to be one of them situations because if they've already pulled it out, they are planning on doing something. And so not only will I just say, hey, look, my DEF is hot, but it's in his hands. I don't know what I'm saying. The DEF is running over. I might just say, hey, look, shot a bait. This is bus 300. My DEF is hot and it's running up and down the aisle. I'm gonna let them know in that. Yeah. Hey, look, you gotta do what you gotta do because in those situations, you know, adrenaline is going to kick in, and you're probably going to do some things or say some things, or act in a certain way that you normally wouldn't do. Because some people is the fight or flight. Some people might pop the brake, open up the door, and run. But then there's gonna be some driver that's gonna try to defuse the situation, try to reach the combatant, because they don't want other kids to get hurt. But our problem is that we don't want you to get hurt as well, or the other students get hurt as well. So those are things that will be worked out as we go along. Good question though, yes sir? You had your hand up.
You have police officer, listen to the radio anyways all the time, isn't that correct?
Yeah, officers are listening to the radio, so they were actually had a meeting on that. And matter of fact, this is where it came up with the officers. The officers are listening to our radio. They will be on our frequency, and they will be paying more attention. Because you know how if you know something does not address you, you don't pay no attention to it. If that's not your bus number or something, you might not listen to what's going on. Officers get calls all the time, but when it's like a bus call, they probably don't pay that close attention to it. But now they're being trained that if you hear a bus say that their DEF is hot, you're on the way. And their dispatcher contacting our dispatch. And the officers also their phones have been downloaded with Samsara. So as soon as you call your bus number, they hear that, they pop Samsara over, they already know where you are. Dispatch don't even have to tell them. They're on their way to you right away. Okay, I think, guys. Yes, sir.
What about if they tell you to go to certain school and then you don't know the school because you're new?
That is a good question. But see, the thing about it, they're going to ask you to call. The protocol is supposed to be, they'll ask you, okay, 10-4, can you call? And if you can pull over a call, they're going to tell you exactly what to do over the phone. And the reason why they ask you to go to campus is simply this, if according to what time of day is it, they're trying to go to the place that police will already be there, and a place where there is less chance of more people, getting hurt. If it's a campus that's already empty because it's a PM, like it's a middle school incident, we already know that elementaries and high schools are basically empty. So they will send you to one of those. If it's in the morning, high schooler, they'll send you to an elementary or another school that's close that is basically no one there. They're just trying to get the situation away from the majority of people.
They want you to drive with the students going to different locations.
You gonna sit there with it? Okay, the thing about what they're trying to do, they're trying to keep from creating a situation on the bus where the kid knows, and most times the kid is not going to know that you know that they got it good. So you don't want to create a situation where, okay, this kid is upset about something, they may be already suicidal, and now you figure to stop and get everybody out, I'm going to kill everybody before you get them off. So, I mean, there's any type of way, we pray to God that this does not happen in Mansfield. But I'm sure that any other school that had a shooting, they felt the same way. We never know. Just like at Timberview, when I know that was isolated, there was a beef between the students, but you never know when somebody's going to have a gun and when someone is going to use one. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to learn how to speak on the camera. Guys, so I've sent out email after email after email about safety meetings, when they are, what time they are, and we still have some people that say that their emails are not working or they didn't get it. This is a list again of our email that I sent out on October 13th, a list of all of our safety meetings for the rest of the year. So if you want to take a picture of it with your phone, and that way you always have it, but those are the days, the dates, and the times that we will have safety meetings for the rest of this school year. Yeah.
Behind you works.
What behind me? Oh.
Trying to get it from back.
Oh yeah, there's the screen back there, and the screen back there is closer to the one back there. But I will still be sending out emails before the meetings. Questions?
If your email doesn't work, go see Jesse immediately when you need it.
Yeah, if your email is not working, and you can find Jesse, because he's busy with everything that happened with the attack, the cyber attack. They have everybody's technological department is running bunkers trying to get everything back in order. So if you're having problems with your email, try to catch Jesse and see if he can get it for you. Yes, ma'am, in the back?
Question for you, you're discussing a weapon on the bus. What happens if we're coming up to a stop? We see someone standing out there with a weapon at the stop, whether it's a water gun, a toy gun, we don't know if it's real or not. Get tested around at the stop. Obviously, we don't stop.
Obviously.
What do we say to dispatch?
You say the same thing.
My death is hot.
You say it's hot. When you call, you pull up down the street, down the roadway, and stop and call them and tell them, hey, look, I just passed the stop at so-and-so, so-and-so. Observer student with a gun, don't know what kind it was. They will actually send police to that house. And what the police are doing, what they're doing is, guys, when you report this and they find out whoever's reporting it and whoever's doing it, the police officers are actually going to the student's home. Those students are not allowed to get back on a school bus until the PD has called dispatch and told them, okay, this student is released to get back on the bus. They're taking it very serious. It's just not us. They're taking it very serious. A child is not allowed to be back on the bus if he's been accused of having a weapon on the bus until PD verifies that he did not have one. And there is no ill intentions. They don't find no gym wall somewhere with a lot of, hate on it. Okay? Anything else, guys? Questions? Hey, y'all have a great day. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you
Make sure you sign up in the back, please.